but I'd imagine someone with slightly larger ears would tend to have their earlobes sort of folding inwards a little bit. Hi guys, it's Andy from NismoTechUK. In this video I'm going to be giving you the review of the headset I'm currently wearing, which is the Roccat Kave XTD 5.1 analog headset. Okay, so before we get started guys, there are links down below in the description and below this video on the website to where you can actually go and purchase this particular headset if it is something of interest to you. Also there'll be links to the unboxing and first look of this product if you want to find out a little bit more about the packaging, what you actually get inside and the detail on the box. But I do want to go through some of the features from the box. So obviously we've got the real 5.1 surround, we've got supreme comfort, dual mode remote, zero noise interference isolator, 40mm drivers on the inside. On here, one thing that I did want to point out, because I didn't do it in the unboxing after I sort of took a closer look around the box, the bit of plastic that's on the inside that I'll show you a close-up of while we're talking about it, sort of points out the real 5.1 surround sound side of things on the actual ear cups on internally. Moving on to the back, obviously we've got the technical specification. There is links to the website NismoTech.com where you can actually go and check all of them out. Obviously you can pause the video if you do wish to, but essentially we've got 40mm drivers, 20 to 20,000 hertz on the frequency response from the centre, front and rear drivers. We've also got a vibration driver unit, omnidirectional on the microphone, weighs in at 335 grams and has a cable length of 3 meters. So that's the box. Let's now go and take a closer look around the cabling and the actual headset. Okay, so let's now go and get on to the nitty-gritty part of the review, looking at the cable, the headset, etc. So the cable, it's quite long. 3 meters in length I think is potentially too long. You do end up with quite a bit of bulk. I used the headset pretty close to my PC, so all this was sort of just lying around, not really doing a great deal. So I think a 2 meter cable for myself personally would be beneficial, but I can see obviously the benefit of having that longer cable. It's not braided. As you can see there, we're starting to tangle a little bit there. So the fact that it's not tangled, or it won't tangle, you can sort of see it there as I was moving things around. So a braided cable on this I think is a must. In terms of the connectors that come off the end and go into your PC, I like the fact that they're color coded. Obviously it does make it a lot easier to actually connect them in. Obviously you've got your USB connection, and you've got a great deal of length between that terminal block as such and the connectors, so not too bad there. And also the length of the cable running from there to your headset on the remote again is very good indeed. Coming on to the remote, and I've got sort of mixed feelings about the actual remote, and I'll come on to them now. We've got the mic on and off, and you've got game mode and also movie mode on the switches on here. These switches are really good, despite the fact they are very low profile. You can actually hopefully see if I bring it in close enough. They are literally flush with the rest of the outer casing, but with the grip that's on there, it is very easy to go and flick between the various different modes and to mute your mic. And also it's really good when you're gaming and you do need to, I don't know, sneeze, cough, or you know, talk a load of crap, have a go at your teammate or anything like nature. Just flick the mic off, and that works really well. Also we've got these dials on the side. You've got front, center, you've got rear, you've got sub. They go from 0 to 8, and after I was playing around with them with about 10 to 15 minutes, I've got a fly in the background. Yeah, playing around with these for around about 10 to 15 minutes. I got it to the setting that I wanted when I was playing Titanfalls, and I didn't really adjust it that much. I did have a play around with it, but it didn't make an awful lot of difference. I was just really enjoying how clear and crisp the sound quality was, but I'll come on to that a little bit later. Up at the top you've got this volume dial to turn the volume on and off. This I don't like. mainly because obviously we've got a cable going in and a cable going out, and you've got that dial there, and that cable just really gets in the way of trying to turn the volume up and down. I like the fact that it's this sort of twister knob. It's got a bit of grip on it, so it's very easy to do or to twist. But if you're kind of like trying to fumble around with it, for example, in the stand, you sort of find yourself picking up the actual cable instead of picking up the actual knob. Talking about the stand, I think this is a really good idea. Also, we've got anti-slip rubber feet on the bottom there. Also, you've got the clip to clip it to your clothing. That I wouldn't actually do myself because it's quite a bit of weight, and obviously then you've got the cable sort of dragging down as well, because essentially you've got the clip going on top onto your clothes, but that cable, they're both the wrong way round. That cable there should be coming out the top, going to your headset upwards with the way that the clippers are orientated, and that cable should be going down towards the bottom. So you've got the weight of the cable, which is then going to bring your t-shirt down, and might make it a bit uncomfortable. They got the cables the wrong way around, in my opinion. So, moving on to the stand, and this is really good, to be fair. Once it clips into place, it stays in place. Moving it around, hopefully you can sort of see if I just bring you in. Moving it around, flicking the button, really good. But like I was saying, if you're trying to get to that volume switch, obviously it moves up and down like so. It can be a little bit fiddly. So the way that the cable is going in and out, and the volume control, I'm not that impressed with on the remote. So now moving on to the headset, and I'm going to talk to you in a little bit about the actual comfort level, and sort of show you what it actually looks like on my head. But we'll just cover over some of the basic things about the actual headset. So obviously we've got the left and right indicators on that side there. As you can see, that's the right hand side, that's the left hand side. Looking at it from that sort of angle, you can see also we've got a bit of a curve going out. The headband is sort of slightly tilted that way rather than being completely flat. I'll come on to the phone part when I show you the little clip that I've recorded with regards to the actual comfort, so we'll come on to that a little bit later, but I was quite impressed by that. I quite like the Roccat up at the top. It's quite subtle with the shiny black plastic, and obviously the rest of the actual headset just looked really good. A real high quality premium feel to the headset. Positive adjustments up and down, really good. We've got a massive amount of flexibility on that cup there, as you can see, with it going in and out. Not a great deal with the twisting, but that's potentially not too much of a problem for some people. The microphone, I'll come on to this, and when I do the other clip that I've just done, obviously it goes all the way around, but the more that you spin it around, I've done it a few times now, and it just pops out, which is a little bit annoying. Obviously you've got the connector on there, but you really have got to make sure that it is pushed in and clipped into place, because if you don't push it in far enough, the microphone is just going to flop down very, very easily. And trust me, that's a lot easier to push than when it's properly clicked into place. Once it's in place, the microphone isn't adjustable that much. As you can see, there's not a great deal of flex, but with where it is positioned on my head, when I show you in a moment, it performs very well, and it's not intrusive into my face or anything like that nature. Also, you've got the LED indicator that I'll show you in a moment. But yeah, the microphone does very well, does its job. I like the fact that it's 360 movable, but like I said, you really have got to make sure that that is pushed down. Okay, so I'm now going to talk to you about the comfort level from the headset. So I've been using it now for a couple of weeks. When I first started to use the headset, it was pretty tight around my head, being honest. But after a couple of days, it did start to loosen up. My body started, well, my head started to actually adjust to the headset, and I think the headset sort of started to adjust to my head as well. There is obviously quite a lot of flexibility, as you can actually see, but it very much does close in on your ears. Now, one of the other areas that I was really quite concerned about, that I didn't think I was going to like, was the sort of kind of lack of foam around the top. And I'll be honest, with it on, I can hardly notice that I've got a headset on on the top half of my head. It's very, very comfortable, very soft indeed, and it feels really good. I can't really tell that there's actually a headband on there. The other thing as well is the ear cups. Now, I did think that my ears weren't actually going to fit, but they do, but only just, to be honest. I haven't got any sort of large ears or anything like that nature, not that I think of. But sort of putting the headset on, it does feel quite tight with my ears going in, but obviously the main idea of it is for the noise cancellation, which works absolutely fantastically. But I'd imagine someone with slightly larger ears would tend to have their earlobes sort of folding inwards a little bit, which after a long period of time might make it a little bit more uncomfortable for them. Overall, give this headset a bit of time. I would probably thought in another week or so for me, and I'll be completely used to how it feels. My ears and my head will be used to it as well. But overall, headband really good, ear cups okay, tightness okay. So we're now going to come and do a little bit of a microphone test. As you know, the microphone obviously moves all the way around. It's a little bit difficult to sort of explain to you guys without sort of really experiencing it for yourself. But as you're moving it up and around and trying to get it into a position, you kind of feel like it's just going to drop and sort of flop straight down. It doesn't really feel particularly strong and secure in that socket. But to be fair to it, it does sort of keep it there, although that's now moving down, as hopefully you could have seen. So you sort of have to push it in a little bit further. So I'm not, even though it's got a 360 degree swivel on there, I'm not that impressed with the actual connection. You really have got to push it in hard and kind of hope that the microphone will actually stay in place. With regards to the flexibility, as you can see, it's pretty difficult to bring it in closer to your face. However, me personally, keeping it around about there, obviously it's got quite a nice amount of distance if I was to sort of scratch my face or anything like nature. It's not going to sort of impede too much on the actual microphone itself. And with regards to the quality, I think it's reasonable. I think it's really quite good. It's not the best sounding microphone that I've actually heard before, but it does the job. The level of flexibility and the movement, though, I'm not that hooked on. Okay, so we now come on to my sort of conclusion of the Roccat Kave XTD 5.1 analog headset. So after watching back the footage that you guys have obviously just seen, I was thinking to myself whether or not I've been a little bit too harsh on the Roccat Kave 5.1 analog. But the points that I brought up are sort of valid, so I'm not really going to sort of change my mind on any of it during this sort of conclusion about the headset. So in terms of the headset itself, as I've already mentioned, it was pretty comfortable. The ear cups did feel like they were closing in on my ears a little bit. My ears didn't fit inside the actual ear cups particularly too comfortable. And like I said a little bit earlier, if you have bigger ears, you may find this a little bit more uncomfortable. But the headband is really good. It's very lightweight, and after, you know, another 1, maybe 2 weeks time, the headset should mold to my head a little bit better. I should be more used to it. So I don't think that is going to be something that I would mark down too negatively, because essentially, obviously, every headset can obviously take a bit of time to obviously mold around your head and for you to actually get used to it. So I think in time this headset will be, you know, relatively quite comfortable. In terms of sound from the headset, absolutely phenomenal, crystal clear sound. The controls on the remote didn't make an awful lot of difference, but to be fair, I spent around a good 15 to 20 minutes finding the right level to the gameplay that I was playing and my style and what I want to actually hear. So I didn't play around with it a great deal, but again, the sound quality coming from it was really crystal clear, and the bass from it is also very, very good indeed. Talking about the remote, and as you've seen, I wasn't that impressed with the remote. I think the buttons that are on there and the sort of shape of the remote is really good, but the cables are in there the wrong way around, in my opinion. Obviously, the way it clips, obviously, yes, you're meant to use it with a stand, but obviously I can see people trying to use this, you know, attached to your clothing so that the buttons are potentially a little bit easier to access, but that volume control up at the top is difficult to operate unless you get used to it, because you are going to catch it to the cable, and obviously the cable that comes out of the top goes straight into the computer. So for me, this is the wrong way around. And also the length of the cable, it's a bloody long cable. I don't know quite why it's so long, and yes, obviously that could be beneficial to some people, but other brands do kind of like extension cables where you can obviously plug it in to make it longer if you do want to make it longer. I think something like that would have been quite good to see, or just to reduce it down to something like a 2-meter cable. There's a lot of cable with this, and they mention one of the selling points, one of the things that they advertise is the fact that it's tangle free. It really isn't that tangle free. A braided cable would have been a far better solution, but for me it did tangle up on a couple of occasions, and I was quite disappointed with that. Onto the microphone, and this is probably the area that I thought I was being a little bit too harsh on. The microphone is quite difficult to get in the right position. You really have got to push it in really hard in order for it to stay in and connected, and when you're swiveling around your head so that it doesn't actually fall out. When I was doing the part of the video where it was on my head and I see you guys were watching me, the microphone wasn't quite in as far as it could actually go, so that's why it was moving around probably a little bit more than what it would do if you were to really force the actual microphone in. I like the idea of it, I like the concept of it, being able to move it all the way around. You can just flick it out the way and off you go, and I see the LED illumination from it is really cool as well, but it's kind of a little bit fiddly because you do have to really push it in, so maybe a little bit more thought around that could have you know, potentially stopped my negativity on that. And the microphone itself, the sound quality was acceptable. It's not the most amazing microphone, but it definitely does the job. Everything's not crystal clear, but everything's clear enough, and I didn't have any problems when I was talking to people on Skype during gameplay or anything of that nature. It kind of just does the job well. So finally onto the stand, and I think the stand is a nice idea to have, but I would have liked it to have been designed a little bit better, have a sort of clip at the bottom where it sort of really clamps down to the actual stand, so that when you're going and adjust the volume, you're then not having the actual remote moving around too much. So essentially the headphone is fantastic for its sound quality. It's really good for the comfort in time, and obviously if you haven't got big ears, and the microphone is okay. I would have liked to have seen a slightly better or improved design on it, but the quality from it is acceptable and good enough. The remote, I think, needs a bit of thought going into that, and the stand, again, possibly a little bit of work going onto it, but essentially this is a really good headset. I know I've been quite negative in it, but the sound quality kind of, for me, knocks everything else kind of into the background. I'm not that fussed about the remote if the actual sound quality from the headset is really good. I'm not fussed too much about how clear and how loud and how good the microphone is, as long as I can hear what is going on around me really well. And this is what the headset does. The sound quality from it really is absolutely superb, but the rest of it kind of lets it down a little bit. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this review, and I've hoped it may be of some use to you. Like I said, there are links down below in the description to the unboxing video, and also to where you can go and check availability and pricing of this particular headset. I'll see they're down below in the comments, or if you're watching this on NismoTech.com, they're also down below as well with the various different links. But for now, this is the review of the Roccat Kave XTD 5.1 analog, and we'll look forward to seeing you in our next video. Thanks for watching our video, and we do hope you enjoyed it. Please do leave a comment down below and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, and also visit our website NismoTech.com, where you'll find all the products we've done videos for, as well as our current giveaways and the latest tech news and press releases. We hope to see you again soon.